welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I hope your morning, day, night is going well and that you're enjoying this beautiful June that you're hopefully having. We are having some sunshine where I live on the island, and also you're enjoying our special month of Pride Month. So I went to Pride myself this weekend. I put some pictures on my Instagram. If you guys don't follow me over there, it's a good place to keep up with information about the show, as I drop a lot of the news on Instagram first, and then I'll make a video and direct you guys towards it there. And occasionally I'll post things about mostly Miss G or my own life, like Pride and things like that. So today we are, of course, going to discuss everybody's favorite topic, the L Word Generation Q Season 2. And it's getting really close. Today, when I'm filming, it's 51 days until we can stream the premiere, and it is 53 days until the premiere is aired on Showtime. So I'm really excited. I just cannot believe it's less than 2 months, and every morning when I wake up I'm like, one day closer. So I'm really hoping that we get an actual like full-length trailer soon. I saw another show that I follow, it's The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. If you haven't checked it out, it's really good. But their show is coming back September 17th, and they released like quite a big trailer today for it. So, I mean, it's getting really close. You know, it's less than 2 months. I would expect a trailer to be around the end of the month, if not sooner. But it just all depends how much they want to give away. And with the reaction to the teaser, I mean, it exploded. We've gone over it in great detail. So I really hope they give us a little bit something more. And then leading up to like the few weeks before, they'll be dropping like a lot of stuff, like little clips and, you know, 10-second things on social media, like the little Happy Pride thing they did this week. If you haven't seen that, I've posted it on the channel and on social media. So I'm guessing they did that little Happy Pride thing when they took the pictures for like the cast pictures for season 2. So I'd really be expecting those around when they release the full-length trailer too. So we got a little sneak peek of outfits and stuff. I'm sure they've changed and things, but it will be interesting what pictures come out, because we got those really, you know, in LA, bright and shiny and sunny ones last season with the premiere, and they won't be doing like all the billboards and stuff like they did last time because it's the second season. But I like want to warn people in advance, I'd be really shocked if Laura Holloman was in the pictures, because she hasn't signed on as a series regular, most likely because she has a entirely separate successful career as a painter. So I wouldn't be expecting to see her in the cast photos. Just want to manage expectations the same way that like Stephanie Allen, who plays Nat and stuff, they're not a series regular either. So they're not going to be in the cast pictures. They might do something like, you know, little ones with, say, Nat, Alice, and Gigi, and Bette, Tina, and Angie, but we'll see. Just a little quick reminder to say, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we have so many giveaways upcoming for Jennifer Beals photograph prints signed by her, and also pieces of merch from my store, which you can go to in the description box. There's a link to that. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And if you are excited for season 2, give the video a big thumbs up, as it really helps out the channel. And don't forget to share it if you want to, as that's a really great way to bring new people over to the channel. And of course, don't forget to let me know your predictions down in the comment section. So on to exactly what we are talking about today, which is predictions. I know I've talked about some predictions in the past, And every time new like big chunks of information come out, I like to kind of update it a little bit. So this is after the teaser, and then obviously everything from filming, because I think I've did this twice before. So it was like about halfway through filming and then about 3/4 of the way through. So now these are after the teaser trailer. I might do another one after like the full trailer if it really is that different. And I probably will do another one mid-season and then the end of the season, because I just like to check in and discuss what I think is going to happen. So a few days ago, I had a subscriber, shout out to Charlotte Lee, who said, I think it'd be fun for you to do a video after the series has aired of how much of your super sleuthing was right and what we got hideously wrong. And she was really nice. So I thought that would be really cool to do like a proper video, because, you know, then we can go back and talk about some of the crazy things that we were thinking, as I'm sure there's some stuff that we've seen pictures of or behind the scenes stuff and ran with it, and it's been completely wrong. But last season, even though I only had my channel for like the 3 weeks of the last episodes, there were some things like in episode 6, I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my gosh, Tina's gonna tell Bette she's getting married. Like, I just knew it. And I put it in one of my comments. So I just like being able to go back and see what we're able to predict and not. And it's just all good fun. I mean, a lot of that, the updates and news and stuff, like that's a big core of the channel, and being able to talk about stuff before it comes out from Showtime. My channel was the first to talk about Rosie being cast, Helena, Kayla Allenwood, the premiere day, and at the end of the day, like that's a big part of the channel, is releasing information and seeing it shared in the community and like speculating and all those things. Like a lot of that is the fun of it. And I'm always very clear, or I hope I'm very clear when I say things like Helena's coming back because this is where the information's come from, or like with the premiere date, okay, it hasn't come out from Showtime, but I'd like to think some of the point of following me is getting information before it comes out in Showtime. And like with the premiere date, I'd got that from people who worked on the show. But this is very different from that. Like, this isn't, I'm saying this is going to happen because XYZ, or because this crew member told me, or because this cast member told me. This is like very much the information that we've got from behind the scenes and all that stuff, and just our own imaginations, talking about it in the community. And I think that's a big part of the fun of having an online community and having, you know, forums like this, because otherwise, if you're just going to go on exactly what Showtime tell us, then we'd really only know about like Rosie, Griffin Dunn, and Donald Faison, and then Vanessa Williams. I think that's really the only things they've talked about. And I guess Laurel threw pants, but even that didn't come out officially from Showtime. So this is definitely way more of like a fun thing, and you know. So let's start out with the big cliffhanger. And I feel like ever since the cliffhanger, which it's been a long time waiting on this cliffhanger, that I keep going back and forth about what's going to happen. And at the moment, I'm kind of settling on Sophie either stops Finley getting on the plane, and Danny ends up going to Hawaii a la Rachel Green in Friends, where she goes on Ross's honeymoon and comes back and is like, I was in Hawaii in a honeymoon suite, and you know, that whole thing. So I don't think that Sophie would go with Finley, just because of like the information that we've got about Finley's family and her not being accepted and all these things. So I just can't really see that happening. But I more so think that Sophie won't choose either of them, and may like choose herself and just walk out and leave them both in the airport to go about their separate ways. So imagine if Danny doesn't go to Hawaii, doesn't pull a Rachel Green, and she goes home and they're like, okay, no, this was like a moment of madness. And Sophie is like, oh, I want my family there and all that stuff. And we know that there is a wedding in the first half of the season or the middle. It's hard to tell with the block shooting, but we definitely saw them spending a significant amount of time out further from LA. It was like in where like the vineyards and all that stuff is. It was a really nice hotel, definitely like a Danny level of hotel. And we know that Micah absolutely was a groomsman. It's hard to tell in the lineup because the picture and like video that we saw, it's in like the background of like what the crew members are doing. So, and they weren't filming at the time. So Micah could have been just standing somewhere talking to someone and not like on his mark. So, and Mark is like, literally they put like tape on the floor when you're filming, so that say like I'm standing here right now and I know, okay, when I walk up to this reception desk, that's the spot I need to stand on and say my lines in or whatever. So if you go into a studio, you'll see like little tape and it's always in like a little cross on the floor, and each character has like a different color. So say, you know, Danny's are blue and Sophie's are green, and they know, okay, when our characters are walking up in, say, you know, the scene with like Bette and Danny in the coffee shop, they'll have had marks over each bit and they'll know, okay, these lines are said here and then up to this mark and beat and say those lines. So it just helps everything flow completely. And the main reason is so that people know, like the camera knows where to go, and the camera's set up this way and what way to turn and everything like that. So it would make complete sense if it was Danny and Sophie's wedding, because one, we know like Danny, it's not going to be like Jenny and Tim's in like a registry office with that, you know, honeymoon suite with the warm champagne. So it definitely fits like Danny. And we know that Micah is going to be the best man. He said that last season. And we know that Finley is there because we saw in the teaser Finley, you know, in the purple jacket. Obviously there could be 2 weddings, but I really doubt in 10 episodes there's going to be 2 weddings. And I have gone back and forth a lot about whether I think it is like a character in the show's wedding, because the reason that Showtime and HBO shows kind of shy away from those is because, like, having weddings in their shows, is because it takes up a lot of time, and like a lot of the characters are just spending a lot of time talking about wedding and organizing and all these things. And when there's only 10 episodes, it's not like Grey's Anatomy where they have 24 episodes to do, you know, 3 episodes on a wedding. So it just, there's not those lulls in the season where they can put one in. And the only sort of compromise sometimes is like a HBO show like Succession, where they're super, super duper rich. So they're not even involved in their own wedding. And that's how you could kind of sell it a little bit with Danny. But I feel as though that would be Danny. Like, just get a wedding planner, tell them what you want. They'll, you know, sort it all out and do everything. But I'm thinking Sophie and her family would want to be really involved and, you know what's going on and plan a lot of the things themselves. So I just keep going back and forth. And some people have said that they think the wedding is Tina and Carrie's. I just really, really do not think that's the case. One, Rosie's only in 3 episodes, and obviously she was on set a lot, but not enough to have an entire, it just seems really implausible. And I also don't think that they would do that, like that after, you know, a lot of people's complaint is that there was never any wedding in the L Word apart from Shane and Carmen's, but that didn't even happen. And I just don't think that they would have the first ever like real wedding in the L Word between one of the members of like the most iconic couple from the show marrying someone else. I just do not see it. So that's my own personal opinion. So this is kind of like a loose theory, and it came to me after watching the teaser trailer for, I don't know, maybe the 1,000th time, that I just feel as though Danny and Bette are going to be working together somehow still. I don't see Danny like going back to her dad's company or like giving up working with Bette. So I was thinking as well, we saw those pictures quite early on when they were filming, that actually I think it was some of the first pictures that we got from season 2, and Danny and Gigi are in the scene together, and I think actually you could even see the marks on the floor, and they haven't even really filmed like scenes together. So I was like, why would these two characters be together like this? Because it didn't seem as though anyone else was in the scene. And again, these pictures were like really, really early on, so there wouldn't have been like, there's no chance Gigi was filming and Ari was like just there. And this is also like a misconception people have about television shows and actors and stuff. Like when you're on a set, the actors 95% of the time are in their trailers, and they just don't hang out on set. Like it's very much, if you are in the scene, you are there. The people, you know, like all the crew members, the director, writer, whoever needs to be there is there. And you're just not really going to have people sitting around or hanging out watching a scene if they're not in it. The only time that would ever happen on this show is like Jennifer, Alicia, or Kate, because they're executive producers. But even so, probably not. And even more so, this does not happen at the moment because of the panorama. And but people just think like, oh, they're on set, they're hanging out. Like it just isn't like that in real life. I know that they portray it a lot on TV shows, and I've talked about even before how they portrayed the set on Les Girls with like all these people just coming and going, and like everybody's just like sitting around, like when Bette and Tina went into Bev and Nina's bedroom, and they're just like rolling around and like touching things. It's like that would never in a million years happen. So it's like, even that could have been a hot set. Somebody could have been like coming into film in 2 seconds. So it just, my whole point of this is there's no way that they're just in the very beginning when things were really bad with the panorama, and they're both like actresses, neither of them is an executive producer, they're both in the scene together. Like, so they definitely seem as though they're spending time together. And then we got scenes, and then we got pictures later where they were at that like apartment with the like city view. And so that made me start thinking then, when I saw Gigi and Bette, well, I think it's Gigi and Bette hugging in the trailer, the second teaser, the social media one. If you haven't seen both, I've posted both on my channel, but it definitely could be possible that Bette, Gigi, and Danny are forming like super badass, like type A, you know, workaholic women's group. And I was thinking maybe there's some sort of job work thing that's involving all three. I would be a fan of anything at all the three of these would do, because they are probably my favorite three. I do really, really love Alice, and like obviously I like Bette and Tina too, but Bette, Danny, and Gigi, just love them, huge fans. And you know, some people have talked about like couplings between the three of them and stuff. I think whatever, any combination of the three, or as Gloriana, shout out, talked about a throuple of Bette, Danny, and Gigi. I think that would be amazing for approximately 8 days, and then it would like absolutely crash and burn to the ground and take the entire world out with it. But I definitely think there could be something like business work-wise going on between the three of them, or even just Gigi and Danny. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Shane, who is probably the OG that we have got the least, amount of information on, and we really don't know too much about where Shane is headed this season. With her breaking up with Kiara, I just really wonder what they're going to do with Shane, because as Kate said on Pants, she was like, oh, it'd be really sad if Shane was still doing the same things that she was doing in the OG and sleeping around and stuff. So I just don't see them going back to that. I know the air hostess thing happened, but I just see Shane being more focused on the business, and maybe someone will come into her life romantically and we see things that get a little bit more serious, or not just a bunch of one night stands. A lot of people have been talking about Tess and Shane, and I know Kate and Jamie both said oh, they have a complicated relationship. I would think that there would be, obviously they're going to be in business together. Tess is the manager of Dana's, so hopefully Shane doesn't make that mistake again, with Tessa's girlfriend. And Tess is obviously a huge asset to Dana's, so Shane's probably thinking I cannot screw this up. And then we also know that Dana's is going through a glow up expansion of some kind, because we know that it's sponsoring things, and then there's some event with a cabana, and they're having these karaoke parties and big events there. So I'm hoping, at least in the fictitious world, that a lesbian bar could be successful, because there's none in LA, so only in our dreams can a lesbian bar be successful in LA. So hopefully we see Shane and the dog and hopefully Shane can find herself, the right woman who wants the same thing Shane wants. But I don't think they're going to go down this angle, like Kate said on Pants, with, sleeping around a lot. So I think that's the right decision. So let's talk about Alice. And I am so torn on Alice when it comes to her love life, because, okay, we obviously know the throuple, R.I.P., we miss you, it's done. From the teaser trailer, Gigi put the final nail in that coffin. So Nat is definitely back. Stephanie Allen was filming something else in parallel with Gen Q. So maybe there was a big workout with schedules and things, and we did see her on set even towards the end. So I would like to think Nat is still around. I actually really like Nat, and she has definitely grown on me a lot since my rewatch. I think she's really funny, and I just am not sure what direction they're going in, because because Leisha said on Pants, when Rose Rollins was on, Rose was asking basically what's going on with everyone on the show, and she was like, oh, who's Alice with? And Leisha was something about oh, it's messy, and then, oh, I'll tell you later. So it just didn't seem as though the Nat thing was that's gonna be who Alice is with for the season, but they just got back together. So yeah, I'm really torn on that. I would like to see them stay together, especially after everything that happened. But, after all, we do really need to respect the relationship, because it did create the throuple that we all know and love. So my theory on what is going on with Alice's book, as we know, she is writing a book called Don't Ask Alice, and I think that this book is going to be about Alice's kind of glow up, come up in the industry to where she is today, having her own show, how she got there. And I think that they will use this book as kind of a Easter eggy thing throughout the season. So if Alice is writing the book across, I'm just pulling numbers out of the air here, say she's doing it over 5 episodes, and each episode, she's talking about, oh, I'm writing the chapter about this, or I'm proofing this part, and it will be kind of a segue back to like the OG and being able to drop like little references. And I also think that they may use this book to kind of give us a glimpse into some things that happened between the OG and season 1 of GQ. So I mean, this is completely me making this up. Like, this could be absolutely not the truth at all. And it could be some, like, about her childhood or something we have no idea about. So I think that it would be really cool if they did that and she was able to talk about, Dana and like KCRW and the look and outing someone and all this stuff. And even there might be something like Alice gets cancelled and she has to deal with all of that, and how her career was kind of built on outing someone, which, okay, like, outing someone when I think it was in season 5, so it would have been 2008. So look, obviously outing someone was never okay, and I know people talk about it's a different time then and stuff, but it was only 12 years ago. But in terms of LGBTQ, yes, it was a very different time because we weren't even allowed to get married then. So I just think as well, like, maybe they're going to have a look at like woke culture and cancellation and all this stuff. And I think there's a line in the trailer where Shane says the messy part of people's lives are always the most relatable. And I know some people have been talking about, like, maybe she's talking about Alice's book that way, or, there's so many things that it could be. But even that sounds like a Shane moment, trying to, like, pull Alice up and give her a bit of a you can do this rally. So I don't know, that's just something that I thought of, and who knows. But I have a prediction for a guest on Alice's show, and I really think Samira Wiley is going to be a guest star this season, and I think she will be on Alice's show. There was a picture, it's really far away, blurry, you can't tell who the person is at all, but it's a cast member or a crew member took it, and the person, they look like their hair is similar to Samira, but it's far away and like you really can't tell that much. And they're obviously on the set of Alice, and also the person has a mask on, so it's even harder to tell. And it's just like, and the crew members like taking it in a mirror, so you can see the person in the chair behind, and it's like, why would you be like it seemed to be for a reason. And also we had that picture where we saw, Alice's office has like the chart of guests, and we've seen Samira Wiley's name a few times. So I know she just had a baby with her wife very recently, but they've been filming for 8 months, so she could have done her guest appearance, when her wife was only like 3 months pregnant or something. So that's just my own personal prediction for an Alice guest this season. Talking a little bit more about guest stars, I mean, obviously we're pretty confident that Helena's coming back. I've talked about that for ages, and like I said at the beginning, like, my channel was the first to put that news out, and I still stand by that. And I just have this feeling, and this is again completely my opinion, I haven't got this from anywhere, that I think that Holland Taylor could possibly be back. I just have that feeling. I feel like she's that sort of person who, I mean, she was in the OG. I think she always enjoyed being on the show. I think that she likes what the show represents. So that's my personal prediction for a guest star. I do also think we may get one more OG cast member in addition to Helena this season. So that's another little prediction. Just to go back to the wedding for a second, I do also think that there may be a possibility that we get a little bit of a Jackson and April moment from Grey's Anatomy, where Danny and Sophie are having their wedding, like for all the reasons I said before. And Finley, you know, objects, or Sophie gets cold feet at the last moment. That's just a thought I've been having. And I think that the wedding may spin off some other things with, maybe that's how Angie meets Kayla, because there's a, you know, like at weddings, there's a lot of people there and a lot of people like all connected to each other, that they all work in like a creative way. Well, a lot of them do. And I also think maybe something happens at the wedding or this after party, which is how we get the FBI and the cops and whatever's happening there. Because as we know, we saw those pictures from Safida and Ari, that there was like cop lights, and we know all these things that I've talked about in previous videos. And then I talked about this in one of my lives recently. There was a set picture from the crew, and in the background you can see like, sets always have like these, they're like big picnic table things, and they had a bunch of guns and like cop badges on the thing, like quite a lot of them. So that definitely seems like something's going on there with that. I just was thinking maybe it's somehow connected to the wedding, and like the wedding is this big event that kind of splinters a lot of storylines out. I asked this question on my Instagram last night, that I was saying, how many episodes does everybody think Tina's in? And I got an array of answers. Personally, you know, Rosie's in 3, so she's at least in 3, and she was there a lot more than Rosie. So I think Laurel is probably in 5 to 7 episodes. It's, you know, it because of the way they're shooting, it's really hard to tell. But she definitely was there like way after Rosie was, and judging by IMDb, which has been updated for episodes 1 and 2, and we've also got the titles for that. So again, I think my guess is about 5 to 7, because, you know, she's not going to be in every episode. It doesn't seem as though she's in episode 2. So again, hard to tell with block shooting, but those are my guesses. So talking particularly about Bette, she's going to go through a lot this season. That's my major prediction. Bette is going to have, I mean, the word they used was stalker. So that's what Vanessa Williams said when she was talking about having this relationship with one of the cast members, that she heavily alluded that it was Bette and Jennifer Beals. So we definitely are going to have some sort of relationship between those two. As some people have pointed out, I know Jules from Bette and Tina House of Stir Fry said this, that, you know, stalker doesn't seem like a very romantic thing, but I think that the person Bette is hooking up with in the trailer, where we're led to believe it's Gigi, I think that's Vanessa Williams. And there was just also some other things that Vanessa did, like a couple of lives, and she was on a podcast. They're all on my Instagram if you want to go and check them out. And she did say, like, it definitely made it seem as though there was like some sort of romantic relationship nature to it. And then we know that Bette is obviously going back into the art world, and Pippa's an artist. And then also Griffin Dunn is going to be orbiting in Bette's art world as well. So there's a lot going on with Bette work-wise, and then relationship-wise, and then she also has the whole thing of Tina and Carrie moving to town, and they're engaged, and what's going on there. And then also Angie, and what's probably going to go on with Kayla Allenwood, and Angie discovering she has a half biological sibling. And then, yeah, there just seems to be a lot going on. And I think that Angie will be at least like looking towards college. The little social media preview made it seem as though she was like getting finding out she got into a university, because I know that's all like online now, not in the prehistoric days where you had to get a letter in the mail. So I would be beyond shocked if Angie didn't at least apply to Yale. I mean, I would think there'd be some sort of like early admission thing. I know that, we do not get any information whatsoever about Tina, and apparently the day that she met Bette in like 1997, she was like dropped from a cloud. So we don't even know like where Tina went to school at all, anything about it. If Tina went to university, what she went for, I'm assuming something to do with like communications or film, or even business. So it would be great to get some information that way. And maybe Bette and Tina, obviously Tina's relocating, so maybe they don't want her to go all the way to the East Coast, and maybe that's what's appealing for Angie. So we shall definitely see. Hey guys, Editing Ash here. I just forgot to mention about season 3. And I mean, I've talked a lot about it already, and I've spoken about it in my lives, in comments on YouTube, comments on Instagram, direct messages. I'm being as obvious as I can, and let's cross our fingers for season 3. Nudge nudge, wink wink. And I just wanted to put this in this video so that whenever the announcement comes about season 3, I can point to this and say, hey, remember when? So the announcement about season 3, I'm sure, will come very, last year we had to wait till episode 6. They did renew it a little bit before that, but they knew that there was a ton of press around Laura Holloman being on the show, so that's why they did the announcement then. If Laura wasn't on the show that season, like, they would have announced the renewal after the second episode, but it just made sense because, I mean, you guys remember the day that the episode aired, it was like crazy, and all those interviews, and there was articles everywhere, so it just made sense to tell people about season 2 then, when they're already getting all this publicity. So season 3, I'm sure the announcement will be a lot closer to the premieres. So I'm assuming after like the first or second episode. But let's tuck this clip away for a couple of weeks down the road, and we'll be looking good. And a lot of my other predictions that I've talked about before, like delving into Finley's background, talking about Tessa's substance issues, like very general stuff that like I think a lot of people are assuming they're going to do, still stand. But going for very specific predictions, those are my thoughts. I've given my reasoning, and some of which is I just had this random thought, so take as much as you will with a grain of salt. And I would be really, really interested to know all of your predictions down in the comment section, because honestly, like, talking with you guys in the comments and on Instagram and DMs, I love it. Like, you guys have some awesome ideas that I would never think of myself, and I just have such a laugh with you guys. You're so funny with some of the things you say. So, and I really, really love that everybody is just so cool and respectful. Like, I saw some people having a conversation on one of like the Bette and Tina pictures I put up the other day, and it was just both people had like completely opposite thoughts. Like, one person really liked Bette and Tina and one person really didn't, and they just were both respectful and talked about how both of their opinions were totally valid, which is absolutely the case. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and their thoughts, and as long as we all deliver them in a kind and respectful way, I'm all for it. As I said in my video the other day, we are kicking off some giveaways really, really soon. All the winners from LCon 2 and then just some other people that I was sending stuff to, they should all be getting their merch this week. So I'm excited to see all of you guys receive that. And as I said, when we do the first episode review of season 2, I will be doing a giveaway for one of Jennifer Beals' prints and getting her to sign it for you and stuff. You can purchase those yourself on the gallery thing too, but I will be giving one away, and then also tons of merch as well from my store. If you want to get some for yourself, I mean, in pretty much all of my videos I wear it. I was dressed for work today, so I don't have any merch on today, but I normally do, and I've pretty much, if I'm not dressed for work, I'm exclusively wearing merch from my channel that, you know, there's Generation Q stuff, Bette and Tina stuff, the OG show stuff. So if you guys want to get your hands on some L Word merch, the link to the store is in the description box down below. But I will be doing tons of giveaways very soon over the summer and across the entire season. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You have to be a subscriber to win, and comment on the video, and that's basically how you enter. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. Those are updated all the time, and I will drop little bits of information there as well before my videos come out. So make sure to check me out over there. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys!